link to share? Or
Yep. Hey guys, welcome back. Round two. It is still raining here. I will tell you, my shoes are still wet from the round of running into the house 20 minutes ago. They are still soaked. I'm soaked past my knees now in my work pants and long johns. I'm absolutely drenched. But listen, it pissed me off. We're back. Okay. So
there we go.
Yeah, don't share that link I sent you just a second ago, or we'll have a bunch of people in here with us.
Got some YouTube one. I'm gonna get out there.
Yeah. Did you jump on to share it with YouTube? Hang on, because we'll have a new one. Maybe.
Well, I got my post notifications from Narcoleptic Customs, so
cool.
Got that going right now.
Deal, dude. I cannot believe what happened. That is absolute insanity.
That was literally crazy how that happened.
But why don't you tell them why it was a good thing that you were the guy that it ended up that happening on? You're kind of telling me a little bit beforehand.
Yeah, so as you'll see when you go through and watch the video, we just kind of rolled with it because for about 8 years, for the Toledo Mudhens and Walleye, they're the minor league team for the Detroit Tigers and Detroit Red Wings out here in Toledo, where I'm from. I was actually their audio guy and on-field MC host / announcer, whatever you want to call it, for 8 years.
Nice.
So kind of like being in the showbiz, when something happens, you play it off as not really big deal. Yeah, let's keep moving on, even if it sometimes is a disastrous big deal. You keep rolling with the punches and you just do what you can do.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, listen, I really do appreciate you handling that as well as you did. I know it was probably a little bit crazy there for a minute, and I'm messaging him. I'm like sending him Facebook messages like, oh my God, dude, I'm trying. So, 815, welcome back, dude. I'm excited to be back in this. I will tell you, it's still raining here. It didn't look like it was going to be as crazy. So it came back. I was like, let's go, man. And you were gracious enough to want to drink beers with me after I got so frustrated. I'm glad you didn't have my phone number, because I'd have called you, or I had your number. I'd have called you.
No, we need to get the numbers.
Yeah, we'll do that for sure. I think you probably went over a lot of stuff. The sad part is we didn't have the opportunity for me to learn any of that. So if you want to give me like the glossy recap of maybe like some of the dumbest mods you've done to cars and some of that other goofy stuff, that'll be fun. Yes. Yeah. The beer I had out here is still cold.
Here, hopefully I don't get storms. It started raining as I was walking back out, but we're like 5 hours apart, so it shouldn't be the same storm.
Yeah, I hope we're not going to be on that long, I'll guarantee you.
Well, I told everyone about my first car. It was actually a 96 Mitsubishi Eclipse. Got that around Fast and Furious stage, and of course I Fast and Furious it out. Had a full body kit, built the motor. That wasn't riced out. It was very clean. No decals, nothing crazy like that. Then after that, I got into my BMW. So actually I had a Talon, a Laser, and an Eclipse. So I was full DSM fanboy.
DSM dude.
That's what all the cool kids were.
Yeah.
Back when your car made 300 horsepower. Dang, you just ran a 13-second, bro. You're like the fastest one out here.
Yeah, you're the fastest kid here.
And now my wife's BMW X5 runs high 12s with nothing, and it's a big, huge SUV.
Right. Yeah, she does that leaving the stoplight and smokes some kids. That's funny.
Exactly. No, we did stuff like that. With the cars, we've put on stupid mods for fun, like exhaust. So we had a Ford Festiva back in the day that we riced out for fun and kind of did YouTube stuff before YouTube was around. It was just kind of recording videos with a big old camcorder and making home movies.
Right. Yeah.
I just actually shared a Facebook post. Memories came up and said 12 years ago when we had an all-wheel drive Eagle Talon, and my buddies would like skitch in on the rear bumper on a sled, and we would be doing like 60, 70 down the road on sleds, just doing all kinds of dumb stuff you shouldn't be doing, but man, it's so much fun.
Yeah, that's hilarious. We would do the same thing. We did a lot of that. It would snow randomly here in Northwest Arkansas, and it was on. Like I had a buddy that had a Jeep Wrangler, and we would hook up the ski ropes and jump on knee boards and stuff and just be in the ditches and everything. That was a good time.
Yeah.
Tubes and all that kind of crazy stuff.
We've had buddies. We've put cars into ditches because they're having fun. A buddy in a new STI, he wanted to drift with us. We were in parking lots. He went too wide, smacked the curb, and folded the rim over,
Yeah.
fended all the suspension, everything. Oh, man,
Yeah, you're like, oh man, good luck, bud.
like, oh, that sucks. Sorry.
Yeah.
And the bad part was the wheel was literally like this, but the roads had at least 8 inches of snow, and he drove it all the way to my house like that. Like normally he wouldn't have been able to, but since it was so snowy, that sideways tire acted like a ski and just slid all the way back.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. Yeah, good times. What else did we have on our list there? I'll pull up some pictures. We'll go through some of the pictures.
Yeah,
because you sent some fun ones, like from your wedding. I think this was.
I tried to show some of them from my phone, and then a lot of them I just sent to you on Messenger, so I didn't have them on my phone. But yeah, it was my wedding. That was my BMW S1000 RR, because I've been into bikes. I grew up, I was racing like a Yamaha YZ125. We had a Honda Z50. That was my dad's when he was a kid. So like
nice.
It was a 1970. That's kind of that's how like I grew up working on engines, because it didn't run at the time. I got it running. Racing dirt bikes. Then I got like a Yamaha R6, then a Yamaha R1. And big boy status, got my S1000. So that's such a crazy bike. So I rode
2000 to probably 07 or 08 was my sport bike days. My favorite bike was I had a 2000 Gixxer 1000 Suzuki, and it was just so much fun because it would wheelie like crazy. Like so wheelie. And then I bought a 06 636 Ninja Kawasaki, and that bike would do wheelies forever. Like
so good,
legit. I was like, this is the greatest bike ever. So it was fun. So this bike, the S1000 RR is insane. I want to say when it came out, it was like the shit.
It was the highest horsepower and fastest bike, beating out the Busas and the 14 of the day. Like my specific one, it's actually a funny story. Man, we need to interview him. We got him out of the guy. His name is Mike. He is 75 years old. I bought this S1000 off of him. He had it set up with saddlebags, touring setup. And I'm like, 75? He's like, yeah, I bought it brand new. It's my bucket list thing. I put 10,000 miles on it. He rode it around everywhere in his 70s.
That's crazy. I wouldn't think that bike. I mean, just looking at the picture there, it's a sport. It's not like a sport touring like a Busa, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's more not. Sport bike. Yeah, like you're down. Wow.
I wonder if I can pull up a picture when I bought it. But yeah, there was tank bags, saddlebags. He had like radar detector on it, like everything. Then when I got it, I put an exhaust on it and a tune. That's all I did. The bike put down like 198 to the wheels. And
dude, that's insane.
Yeah, at the beginning of this year, I ended up running a 951 in the quarter mile, and that's stock wheelbase. That's nothing crazy, nothing. It was just so much fun. Like I can't believe like how fast the bike is.
Yeah, they're absolutely insane. And what's something like that weigh? I mean, it's probably like 450 or something. Right?
380 is what it weighs. What?
Dude, that's
crazy. 200 horsepower. Yeah.
And
I kind of miss being on my bike. I ended up actually selling it about 4 months ago. Drag racing. But if people are like, why?
That's a real weird timing. You have a 5-month-old son and you sold your bike 4 months ago. That's weird.
Yeah, and people are like, oh, you did it because your son. I was like, actually, no, I did it to buy more car parts because I've had that bike. I've had sport bikes all my life. This one was for the last 3 years. And in the last 2 years of having Klaus, when it's actually running, I put a couple 100 miles on it in the summer because, hey, it's 75 or 80 and sunny. Let's get out Klaus instead of let's get the bikes out. And it sat. And I'm like, this is still a $12,000 ornament sitting in my garage. And I was like, plus it's faster. Klaus is faster and safer than my bike. They're like, no, it's not. I'm like, this car is faster and safer because once I could maybe get down the track at some point in the life, it better go faster than a 950.
Right.
I mean, the math, like all these quarter-mile calculators say, 1,200 to the wheels and 2,800 pounds should put you at a 7.6 in a quarter mile. So if my transmission doesn't blow up and the diff doesn't blow up and the axles don't blow up, it would run that. I just want to run a 9 something.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what's the fastest you've been in the car.
Oh yes, so I said that in the last video. I've done 9 passes down the track, and I also talked about we rent out Norwalk Raceway, Summit Motorsports. We rent that out twice a year for my own track days. So you would think I have a whole bunch of passes, but no, the first or second pass something broke. But the best pass ever is an 1120 at like 67 miles per hour.
Because oh my god, dude!
At the 330 foot on that one, it actually blew out one of the coolant or the freeze ports on the head because, oh, hey, he's the man.
Yeah. Thanks, Destroyer. I appreciate that, buddy.
Hey, Destroyer, get a beer. I'll buy you a beer. I'll send you some Ernest beer.
Destroyer's probably, he's probably drinking some beer or something that is a dark liquid.
Absolutely. People are like, oh, you talking beers are going out? I'm like, nope, sitting in my garage. Being safe.
That's right.
No, but it ended up blowing a port because we found there was actually a hairline crack around the head studs. So it was like over pressurizing and all that fun stuff. Then out of the other 8 times had the team, as I'm running the track event, they changed out to the skinnies, which you could see right there in the front. And something was cockeyed to where they were like this. But when I got up to 60, the whole car is just shaking itself. So get out of it. We put the radials back on. It blows an axle because I don't get out of it when it's tire shaking. Another one, it was overheating, blowing coolant. When I raced Ellis Postal, if you know that, he has the mail van with LS. In Indy, real good guy. We're hanging out. We were racing at the ice cream cruise, and that's when my clutch was completely out. Monster, they refreshed my clutch, and they sent it out with a factory defect where it wasn't machined right, so it would never fully close. So anytime it was making like more than 600 or getting to boost, it was just spinning. And that still ran like a 12 with me just barely giving it gas and just kind of coasting and just shooting 2-step going down the lanes. I'm like, it's like I had to struggle before to run a 12 in any car. And now
you're doing it like
I'm coasting.
Third throttle, let it spin. Yeah, that's cool, man.
That's what I'm hoping.
Destroyer says your build's a badass car. And it is for sure.
I appreciate it. It's just built for fun. Destroyer, if you ever hang out and you see an event, you can sit in the car. We can go for cruising. You drive. If you're good at driving, you can drive it. People are like, why do you let that? I'm like, I built this to where any of my friends, well, we did have keys. It doesn't have keys now. This company called Chassis Harness built me like a custom chassis or like a harness for it. And now it's all push button start. There's no key or anything. So take it for a drive. You're not going to hurt it. I mean, you might, but you really got to mess up to hurt it.
Well, I was going to say, here's the thing, like 98% of the people that are going to jump in that car are not, one, ready for the volume of noise that is involved in a death cart, right? Plus the high mount, exhaust exit right there at the window. They'll probably see 4,000 RPMs and think it's red line. And so, letting anybody drive it is pretty good.
He said the power to weight. The car on the scales last year when we weighed it, these are all in my YouTube videos, so you guys can always see the power. You can see the weight that we did. We got out our friend's corner scales. Ooh, that's a good sound.
Dude, I'm fixing to drink a bunch of them submissions.
So it was 2820 without me is the official weight, and it was actually like it was a 51-49 difference. Like it was split so well. And this power that you see right here, the 1150 and 900 torque, was with the 5.3 motor that only was rods and pistons and head, and the small GT35 turbos. So that was 1150 made it. And now it's a full 6-liter Texas speed, built everything, Lingenfelter heads, and twin 7271s. The motor is built. Yeah, the motor's built for 1,500. The fuel system should handle 2,000. The turbos will do 2,000. I'd like to see 1,500, but I'm at the point now. I'm like, it's been 2 years. I'm tired of breaking everything.
Yeah. So and the struggle with your center section may handle the power as long as you don't get traction. Traction's what kills stuff. So a set of like 1,500 horsepower axles is insanity. I mean, they're going to be $2,000. I bet.
Oh, absolutely. The next thing, because this is, I don't know if we caught it before you buzzed out in last video, but it's an M5 diff in the rear end with the M3 rear axles. People said they're good for 1,000. They're not. They're good for over 1,000 because I'm putting that down. But that's still to keep it kind of BMW. The next step would be just 8.8 swap. That's like $2,500. I don't know.
Dang.
I mean, that'll be the next step if we really try. But even like the 1150 number, that's just for numbers. The car, actually, even on the drag strip, besides the dyno, I've never even turned on the boost controller. So anytime you guys have seen me, any burnouts, any other racing or anything, that's on wastegate. The new wastegate springs, it's 11 PSI is the boost that I'm making, and that put down 980 horsepower.
You mean burnouts like this?
Yeah. That was our first Cleats and Cars competition. That's when the car was already overheating because it flung a belt, and I'm like, you know what? Let's put it up against the wall and just hold it until it blows. It's like a $4,000 mistake, but I did it to get the name out.
Yeah, and I think it worked.
It made for cool pictures, though. It was really cool.
Obviously. That's cool. So how many Cleats and Cars burnout competitions have you been in?
3, and 4 if you count a couple of weeks ago, but I wasn't technically in it, even though we were down there in the area because engine builder, I don't know if we talked about it, put the head gasket on upside down.
I watched that video today. I was trying to. I typically watch all your stuff as soon as it comes out, and I was going back through trying to catch up.
Yeah, it was just like depressing because I had the guys with me. We're going through the engine builder. He was just like, and he's respectful. Accelerated Performance. He's the one that works with side. He's actually here in Toledo. Side by Side blog.
Yeah.
Side by sides. Yeah, they got 2JP, that 2JZ swaps. They were just on Hoonigan yesterday. Hoonigan versus the World. Don, super good guy. He's like, dude, I didn't put the head gaskets on upside down. I was like, okay, yeah, I believe you. I replaced water pump, went through literally everything, the radiator, pulled it off. I'm seeing everything. And then finally, Jeremy at Faster Prompts was like, you might have something internal. And I told Don, I was like, you know what? I'm going to pull the heads and see. And I pull it, and the head gasket was on upside down. And then, when it's upside down, it's blocking basically the water pump passage going through it.
Yeah, that was a really good video just because of that exact explanation right there.
Oh, it was, that's just one thing. And he apologized. He's like, I've never done that. He's like, I'm sorry. But in his defense, I use the Athena Cut Vulcan rings, which are awesome because it's a composite gasket with a steel ring. And as you bolt it down, the steel ring cuts into your head. So it's like having an O-ring clock, but not. These gaskets, they only make one side. It's just left or right, depending on which way you flip it upside down or not. And they say front, but it's front depending on what side you're on the engine.
Well, and when you were saying that, like in the video, I was like, all he had to do is get the thing out, and like you would see front, you'd put it on. I mean, dude, how many people have done that?
It's something to watch. And then hindsight's 20/20, but then that night we were hanging out with Garrett and talking to him, having a few beers, and he's like, bro, I've done that before a couple times. I'm like, what? He's like, it wasn't in a video, but I did that with Ruby. I put the head gasket on, it overheated. And I was like, well, what'd you do? He's like, I took off the water pump, shoved a screwdriver and chiseled out the gasket. I'm like, that doesn't work. He's like, up until Ruby's motor blowing, he was like, it did 2 Rocky Mountain race weeks, multiple 7-second passes. I'm like,
damn. But dude, walk through that process because you guys were having some overheating issues at home. And you had to be down there 2.4 hours of the mullets, get down there for be in the burnout competition. So you had to load the car up. You guys go to Jeremy's shop. You end up taking the heads off the car, finding that. I mean, like, you're right there. I want to say thanks to Destroyer for the $5 too, man. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
Good dude.
Yeah. All this is going to help buy beers on Sick Week.
Yeah, beers. Yeah. Oh, I want to go to that,
dude. I'm telling you, I can't wait. I cannot wait. When are you going to do a drag and drive event with us? Like Midwest Drags would be good. It's close.
Well, the plan was, since the car's been built, to do all of them.
Yeah.
But realistically, I should probably be able to make 1/4 mile pass before I do anything.
Yeah.
But especially Drag Week, because Drag Week is predominantly Ohio and Michigan. So like the Norwalk track, the Michigan track, and everything like that. So this week, I believe, or this year, I believe it's going to be like Dragway 42, Norwalk, and Indiana one and back. So I really want to do that one because it's local. So I'm still building houses for a newer company, so they're still weird about, hey, you're trying to take off 6 weeks in a year? What's going on?
Like, what are you, crazy? Yeah, you're like, I am a little bit.
I was like, I do a lot of internet stuff.
Right?
Oh, hey, there's LS Postal right there.
Yeah, so my job I have now, been there a minute, like 6 years, so I have 8 weeks of vacation because I didn't take any vacation, and you can carry over 3. The problem is it's me and one other guy that run our department. So like I can't leave him alone for 8 weeks, so we're really, I've really got to shake the tree to figure out which events I want to do. That's the struggle. So we're doing Sick Week. That's in 6 weeks with Justin Chestnut. I hope he jumps back in here in a little bit. He's one of the guys that messaged me and was like, man, he's like, I'm at work right now. We usually have your live streams playing while we're at work.
That's
awesome. That's what I messaged you. I was like, okay, man, we gotta pop back on and say hey to some folks. And I'm glad Destroyer could pop in here too, obviously because he donated, but then too because he's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, he says, Carl, do you have a trivia question I can use for car guys? He's working on something. He hosts a weekly live feed on Tuesday nights.
That's a good idea. We had a bunch because I was brainstorming with Rich, my buddies, and Hidden Motorsports because being in Northern Ohio, wintertime, there's only so many times you guys want to watch me tear apart this motor and put it back together. So we were thinking of like getting like the group of 4 or 5 of us around a big round table, have beer sit out. We start interviewing different people, and then we discuss like car topics. And we're like, hey, what do you think about this EV vehicle? What do you think about Ford doing this? And of course, as you get 5 or 6, you start to get more opinionated about your response and how you're feeling.
Yes.
So I don't even know. Actually, I can't think off the top of my head.
So, Destroyer, does it need to be something that is pretty easy to get, or is it something that's like, in 1972, a Dodge Dart had 132 wheel horsepower, something like that. Or kind of give us some insight.
The simple ones would be like, what's the firing order on a LS engine?
Yeah. I don't know that one. I do know a small block Chevrolet. For whatever reason, that stuck in my brain from high school.
Oh, them small block Chevrolets. Man, they can jump a Coke can, all that stuff.
Dang, double hump heads, man. It was,
them double
man, my uncle had one, hook on gravel.
You would honestly not believe how many times we get that, because everyone talks about this car when we park. We get the older guys, and they're, I got the 350. I had this. It's got the double pumper. It could do this. It could do this.
Yep.
And I bet you, and some of the guys are making stuff. They're like, I had headers, a carburetor, all this. Yeah, my 350 was making 700. I was like, oh yeah, supercharger? No, that's just all motor. I'm like,
man, it's all motor. Yeah, then we put a supercharger on it, man. It was crazy.
Oh, there's just stories everywhere.
They have 10 seconds to answer with hands in the air, so no cheating. Dude, I'm excited about this trivia game
you're working on. Sweet, actually.
Yeah.
Like make a little game show out of it. Maybe the winner gets a prize, or you mail them something.
I'm sure that's what he's got in mind.
Oh, you could do it all with like live feeds. Like, we're split up. Yeah. Like 8 of them, 8 people, then just you in the center, or 6 people. And whoever wins.
He's Destroyer's like the leader of our small YouTuber group. It's like whatever he finds all the cool stuff, and then he figures out how to work it, and then he brings us along with him. That's why we know about StreamYard, and we're not doing it on Zoom and things like that anymore.
Oh, hey, you know what? Subscribe. Smash that subscribe button. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever the YouTubers say these days.
Right.
Scissor kick that subscribe button.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, man.
So Destroyer said, my dad has one saying a 289 Falcon stock pulled a wheelie. And it may have. He just had, 740 pounds over the bumper.
Those cars were massive.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I know it'll probably break something, but I want a wheelie picture so bad.
Dude, so, the big thing in street racing stuff right now is the weight that hangs way off the back, Beater Bomb did that.
Beater Bomb did that. I mean, it's in the rules. It'll work.
I'm going to do it on the cart, but I want to put I want it to be like 12 feet behind me to see if we can get it up.
Oh, that's whatever. What do they call it now when they have it in the front of the bumper? They got their little.
I don't know. Mac TV talks about it a bunch. 815 says it's the butt hurt bar.
Oh, yes, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
But no, I think they were saying what you get 36 inches or something in front of your front tire to where your front bumper is because you stage. Oh, that's a good question.
You get the bar, the little license plate fold out thingy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question to ask guys. Be at a quarter-mile drag strip. Do you stage with your front tire and bumper, or do you finish with your front tire or bumper?
Yeah.
Because I actually did not even know that or realize that until they're you stage with your tire, but finish with your front bumper. I'm like, that's crazy because from my center of my tire to the front bumper is only 18 inches. So I think I could put a couple of feet or something in front of mine.
Do this big long dolphin out there.
It'd be something ridiculous for sure. But I didn't realize that. It's really close.
See, so in that early picture, that's why your buddy put that way out there.
Gosh. Yeah.
He wanted you to run that 10-second pass, but you didn't do it, so that's why you ran a 12-second pass.
Exactly. No, that's what I always called it a train plow because it was so low and big and out there. And I was just no, that is just way too much.
So Destroyer says, my dad always said, ask Bob. He saw it. Bob was gone years ago. That's great, man.
Oh,
so
man.
I'll tell a funny story. I had a S10 Blazer in high school that had a V8 in it, right? I had a big converter in it. It was just a stock 7.5 in the back, one wheel. But the shocks were blown, so you could do the,
bounce up and down. Yep.
and the second or third time it'd pull the wheel, so I'd tell everybody I did wheelies, So.
Oh, that would be. I've seen those.
Yeah.
We had something that did that. I had an old. Oh, was it? It wasn't an S10. It was an old Chevy something 4x4 with a wooden bed, and I called it Big Bertha, and it was just meant for doing burnouts. I had it for probably 2 weeks because that Eclipse that you saw ended up breaking Christmas Eve. I needed something to drive back to Toledo because I'm basically from the Norwalk area, which is about 2 hour or hour and a half from Toledo. And I was I got to go back to college in 3 days. And buddy's I got this old truck sitting in the middle of the field. Give me a couple $100. And I was deal. Let's go.
I'm in. That's awesome. Straight Six fan who was on to kick off the 12 Pods of Christmas has a Ford Fairmont he calls Low Fairmont. And he is trying to sell it. So, dude, tell us what happened. Tell us. Buyer came and looked at it, realized it didn't have an LS, and decided to buy something else. What's going on? Because it's still small block Ford powered, which is cool, I think, now. So it looks like some of the comments are some of that. For the folks that are watching on Facebook, I'll try and bring in some of the YouTube comments. And the same for some of the YouTubers. I'll bring in the Facebook comments. Yeah, Low Fairmont's a good. It's a great name because it's all about cheap performance, which was here we go. He said he was a good home to send it to, but he didn't have enough money. Yep,
that's true.
I hear you. Yep, pay up, sucker. Give me that money.
Dude. I've had actually guys. I think Steve or Mike, who is now actually watching. So I gave some of the guys crap in the last feed. They're like, oh, I thought it was a recorded thing. I was going to watch it later. I'm like, how many times did I have to say live feed?
Live feed, bro.
To come watch the video. But now they're actually in there because I think I guilt tripped them in. But
good.
We were on our way to either India or something. We stopped to get gas, and questionable crowd walked up to us in a not so good area. Didn't know what they want, and they were like, build me one of these, and they were like flashing money. They're like, how much is it gonna cost? I'm like, I wasn't joking. I'm like, you probably can't afford it. They're like, what? I'm like, if I had to build this car for someone else, it would probably be $60,000 or more. They're like, what?
Oh yeah.
I'm like, well, think of maybe $20,000 in parts, and then think of 1,000 hours of labor.
Yeah,
like it's ridiculous. I mean, now I could build it really quick, but the designing it and just, you're like, oh, hey, I messed that up. If I would have knew that, I could have built it in a quarter of the time, which is why the second version, I talked about that in the last video, how about the accident and getting crashed. I basically, the first year it took me a year to build the car, and then this took 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks.
It was crazy, the turnaround time. Like, I remember seeing it, I was like, oh my God, that would put me out for a while. Destroyer is right, guys. Listen, do us a favor. If you're on Facebook, hit the share button real quick. Just hit it. Hidden Motorsports needs way more attention than what they have, so we need that. And then if you're on YouTube, make some comments. Go over and make sure you subscribe to their stuff too. I'm going to get
a beer with us.
Yeah.
Hang out, guys. Like, I always explain that to my wife too. She was like, how come you're on your phone? What are you doing? I was like, I'm actually not doing stuff. We're in group chats with your group of friends. So it's like having your 10 buddies, your closest buddies, and we're just talking all day. And I was like, that's how it is with this stuff. Just come and everyone hang out. But,
man. Straight Six fan said he blasted it out on Twitter too. Appreciate that. I just dropped the link in the comments to the to Hidden Motorsports YouTube channel. You guys make sure you go over there. Listen, here's the deal, though. Not the dildo. The deal, though. That's a great joke. If you're not with your boss, he'll go, "Here's the deal, though," and you're like, "Dildo." Anyways, that's a good one. I love that one. Go over, share it, but watch at least 4 or 5 minutes, because like it's not about, for you guys right now, it's not about the number of subs, it's about the watch time.
Oh yeah, honestly, I think we were still talking about the last video. We're not even monetized. We got 1,000 and some subscribers, but I don't have enough content to be able to post every single day. Unless we're gonna start talking about like some of those videos and like talk shows, kind of like what you're doing, but then people watch them, but it's just not physically enough to get monetized, which it's not about the money for me, or telling everyone before who now is just tuning in. I didn't even get a YouTube channel until after this car was done, because I didn't care. I was like, I built this for me. I wanted this. I don't care. But then so many people are like, well, how'd you do it? I want to know more. I want to follow this along. They're like, do YouTube. And then I was computer illiterate besides our MySpace days when we were doing HTML code.
Listen now. Hey, MySpace, you get into my age group now, man.
Dude, that's my age group. I was full on emo kid, okay? MySpace days.
You're ready.
But I had to learn, and that's a big thing. I think my first couple of videos were 10 minutes long, and it was probably like 5 hours of editing. And now my videos, I try to keep around 10 to 15, just because a lot of people, unless it's really good content, don't want to sit there for 20 some minutes. But I can bust those out in under an hour now.
That's probably the hardest part. Like anymore,
I like you, Destroyer.
As I record, as I hit the record button, I'm thinking, how am I going to put this on camera? So it's really saved me a ton of time. Plus,
it's something you learn.
I don't give a shit if people watch them. I want people to, but we're building a brand, the whole brand. We're gonna, like, 2022 is gonna be nuts. We're gonna shirts and things like that. So for us, it's about I'm gonna cram it down people's throats whether they want it or not.
100%. That's what I did too. Like, we got a whole bunch of merch. We probably have.
Dude,
8
and it's
different styles of shirts.
Quality merch. Like, I'm gonna tell you, the Klaus shirt I bought in Indy, like top 3 shirt.
Yeah, I'm actually wearing it now. I got one of the hoodies on. Everything's
nice.
Weird. But
available at hiddenmotorsports.com.
Hiddenmotorsports.com, or just send us a message. Whatever you want to do, we'll take care of you.
Just buy one. Come on.
We got the Klaus shirt. We got our no half send shirt. That's kind of our motto, because I've always lived by, like, go big or go home. Don't half-ass something. Just
Yeah.
if you're going to do it, like the first burnout contest, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do a burnout for 10 seconds. And people are like, ooh, that was that wannabe Leroy cart that did a half-ass sucky burnout. I was like,
dude,
no, I'm going to go out and
that's the worst part. Yeah, that's the worst part about the about ending up building a cart is Leroy is absolutely famous. So everything is Leroy's uncle, Leroy's cousin, all that kind of stuff.
I've actually made my own memes making fun of like myself and the company because that's how it is. It's about. I made one that said what I ordered from wish.com. It's a picture of Leroy and it says what I got in the mail.
Dude, I'm doing that tomorrow because the cart is way worse than Klaus too. So the Narcs cart just looks so ghetto compared to all y'all's cool stuff.
It's just fun. That's what I tell people. Like, just have fun.
Listen, we were able to sell enough Narcs cart shirts and get some donations to buy the car in the first place. Yes, that's great. To buy the car in the first place. And then it's just been just sheer content to just have fun in. I mean, dude, you'll find out as your kid gets older. He'll be a car guy, right? He's a boy. Yeah.
If he is, I'm going to return him. That's fine. If he's not.
It's fine. Selling. But he'll be a car guy. And my kids, it was the first time they were able to like take doors off of anything or work on stuff, and it didn't matter, So it's a ton of fun. I'm gonna turn the little one loose with a sawzall the next time we start cutting panels.
He can practice on Klaus.
Yeah.
There's one of the shirts like with our motto, the no half sins. That's a big seller because.
Yeah. So while we're on the no half sins, tell them about the event. Are you doing this event 2022?
Yes, absolutely. Last year was supposed to be twice. We only did it once because of we did it in May. May 16th was our first one. We rented the track for the entire day. He said 8 a.m. till dark, whenever you want, track shirts. And he said you can do whatever you want. So we did drag racing, roll racing. There's an RC club around us. Also, 10th Scale Garage. They're our good friends.
Oh, man, that's cool. I didn't even think about RC racing.
Yep. 10th Scale Garage has got a big YouTube channel. Those guys are awesome. And they brought out a bunch of RCs. And the owner, Bill Bader, who been around, he's the owner of the track, does everything. He's like, I cannot believe how fast some of these RC cars are. Like, they just get out of line. And yes, lots of runs. Oh, hey, Steve. That's Steve. He's got a white 240 BMW, and it's extremely fast. He finally got into the 10s. He's finally got his 10-second car.
Nice. Actually, he said the word Knox about 14 times earlier. You gotta tell us who Knox is.
That's a video. I wonder if I can play it. So I was kind of bitter a while ago. Let me see if I can pull this up, because when I was putting Klaus together, everyone was really busy, like with family life. It's after Halloween, Thanksgiving. But I'm like, hey, I really need help with Klaus because we have like 2 days until it's got to get done.
Yeah.
And so I did have some help here and there, but building Klaus the second time was basically all by myself, 2 hours a day when I could get out there. And it kind of sucked, but you did what you can do. So one night I had a couple pops and I took one of the car part boxes and I drew a face on it and smiley face. And I captioned it with all my friends are here. And I made myself a video.
Genius. It was the Knox video is hilarious. Hang on. Don't even worry about it. Hang on. Is it on your channel?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. I'm going to get it for these folks.
It's building Klaus, putting him back together. Yeah. 1 month ago. It says build Klaus back better plan, putting him back together. And then there's a part 2 of where they came and stole him. But it's just all my friends. Oh yeah, no prep RC racing. Yeah, apparently the RC racing is huge. They talk about different tires. They're talking about putting prep down. They're talking about all this stuff, and it's all 10th scale.
Yeah,
it's 130 feet, and like I was amazed about these guys treat this RC racing just like no prep racers and these cars are fast. I could not believe how fast they were.
Sorry, I'm working on. I guess I'm.
You get it. No, so with the event, there was another BMW guy who just got one. He had 20 runs in the first hour. I'm like, stop racing. You're going to blow up your car.
Hey,
Stop.
you need to do an Ironman trophy. That's what we do at our street car shootout. You need to do an Ironman trophy. However many, whoever has the most passes of the day gets.
Yeah, there was basically no waiting in line in the staging lanes because Norwalk is so efficient. Cool. It was just straight through. And I had guys that paid 100. They ran 15 runs. I'm like, bro, it's only been 2 hours. You got another 4. They're like, I haven't raced my car this much this year. I'm good.
Yep.
And they were fine. But yeah, here's that video.
Yeah, here I'm gonna play it real quick because this is awesome.
Oh, can you get the sound? Oh, you got to have the sound. So the sound is actually my best friend, or whoever, forgot who sings that. It's like, ooh, you're my best friend, because he's helping me out. Oh, that goes to our intro video for our YouTube channel.
Dude, that was the best. I saw that come up and I was like, this guy is on it.
Oh, it was one of those things, when you're just like, screw it. I'm just going to go do whatever.
Yeah,
have some fun.
Knox, that's a good one. That's a very good one.
That's what we called him, is Knox. And then a few days later, my buddies Chad and Shane, I guess, got drunk downtown, and they weren't too happy with saying, oh, this is all my friends. They broke into my garage that they have keys to, stole them, and then we're interrogating them with jumpers, cables, fire, and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, I hate you guys so much.
That's awesome. Dude, you've got to do another Knox because I'm sure he's destroyed now, and just put him in the back seat as you drive around if you're by yourself.
Exactly. That's what we got. Barry in the back. He's my friend.
Yeah.
That was actually a diaper, or not a diaper, baby shower gift. I'm like, I don't have any room for the 7-foot bear in my house. So I threw it in the car. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave it in the car.
Yeah, man, my grandmother buys those big, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do with this thing? It takes up a whole corner, and there's spiders that are behind it, I guarantee it.
100%.
So your dad seems super cool, right? In the video, I think a couple months ago, you took some family members for a ride. Is that right?
Yes, my dad. Yeah. He was one of those that was, if he watches this, he was talking to big game, saying, I had fast cars back in the day. Oh, what'd you have? This 300 horsepower, this. I'm like, Dad, it's not fast cars. I was like, do you want to drive yet? He's like, I'm going to drive after we go for a ride. I was like, you have to be careful because the slowest he is 920 horsepower. We're on country roads. When the turbos spool up, the tires break loose and you have to drive through it. And he's like, oh, I can handle that. So then I took him and his buddy for rides. And if you could see in this video, when you watch the YouTube video, he's holding on, his face is getting all crazy. And then after it's all done, I'm like, you ready to go for a ride? He's like, no, I'm good. And I was like, oh, are you scared? He's like, no, I'm not saying I couldn't handle it. I'm good. And I did that whole video of like, why you always lying?
Dude, that was a great video. So same deal. My dad had always ridden motorcycles, and I had that Gixxer 1000, and I tossed him the keys, and 70s and 80s bikes. I mean, they made 80 horsepower at the most. The biggest, baddest stuff. He came back and he was like, I don't ever want to be on anything like that again. I was like, did you wheelie? He's like, in 4th gear unintentionally. He's like, I thought going, 70 or 80 and being able to roll on the throttle, he's like, it'd be fine. And so, he didn't ride any more of my motorcycles.
No, that's how actually I was born. So my parents always tell me this story. I was born in the 80s, and I had teen parents. My mom was 17 and my dad was 18.
Yeah.
And of course, they're like, yeah, you weren't in an accident. I'm like, yeah, you were both senior in high school.
It was a back seat of the car. Yeah.
I think he did say something like that. I tried to.
La, 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 la.
But so apparently, I was born on June 16th. My due date was June 10th, I think they said. Mm-hmm. And my mom said you just wouldn't come out. So being the responsible 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids they are, my dad had an old Suzuki something street bike back in the day, whatever they were in the 80s. And they went for a motorcycle ride. And there's a picture of it. I'm like, you guys are crazy. My dad's like, yeah, to get it out, we jumped railroad tracks. And the whole time I'd be like, no, you guys are joking. My mom's like, no, it's true. It's not responsible. We would get some air over the railroad track because it would slam down. And that's actually what started the labor. She's like, that's how you went into labor. I was like, you're joking, right? They're like, we're really not joking. I'm like,
yeah, we're really not.
So irresponsible.
That's great, dude.
I was like, is that why I like jumping everything and going as fast as I can right now?
Yeah, that's why. 100%. I'm sharing out the live feed here again real quick.
Oh, that's so much fun. Oh yeah, there's all these comments. Oh hey, Straight 6 fans said, I'm a big believer in the under 15-minute ideas. Yep, for the videos.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you. So if you don't follow him, his channel is great. Highly edited stuff. Really, like you can tell when he goes in, he has a great idea of what he's going to do, and his videos are easy to watch. Like that's the biggest thing. Consistency is hard. I can tell I've been drinking beers too fast and talking too fast already.
Oh,
yes,
that went everywhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go get another one here in a minute.
Okay.
I was supposed to work on this stupid Trailblazer tonight, but that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, on these big
Probably
jobs.
not. Yeah, that's right. Stupid GM engineers. Here, dude, crazy thing. I commented on Patina Pit Stop's video earlier that GM engineers are idiots.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
They took it down. They took my comment down. I'm like, I'm gonna get kicked off YouTube. I was kicked off Facebook for a week. I can't be mean to anybody.
It's Facebook's Nazis, and I think YouTube are now, because I was talking to Fast Proms, a lot of people, I guess they changed monetization, and no one makes money on YouTube. They think all these big YouTubers make a bunch of money. No, it's all on it's merch.
Yeah,
you really don't get, even Cletus's videos, he doesn't get a whole bunch of money. I mean, he does get good money.
Yeah.
Who does Demolition Ranch? He does good on YouTube.
Dude, that guy makes some money. Money. That's awesome. 815 here says, here comes another band. That's probably true, and that's why I'm not saying wiener on Facebook.
You literally cannot say anything. I think some of my videos will slip in cuss words now that are accidents, because I don't care. It's true. Some people wouldn't believe, like the whole Cletus group, if you hang out with them outside of videos,
they're regular dudes.
It's a sailor.
Yeah.
It's a bush light in your hand and every word that you can think of.
Yep. And then they're on screen, but that's part of it, man. You know what I mean? Like they got a brand. They got little kids that watch their stuff. I can appreciate that. Me, I mean, I've said some dirty words in front of some kids, and I'll probably say them again. I mean, my kids know what we call them Miss Leanne words, because she cusses worse. Because she cusses worse than I do, and so they're Miss Leanne words when Daddy says them.
Yeah, we try to be good for the most part.
Yeah. So Michael, no idea how to say your last name. There are too many letters there that don't have any consonants or vowels in them. So I'm like, I don't know. Listen, I'm a redneck. I'm country.
You didn't meet him because he was not at Indy.
Oh, dang.
That's Mike Stribney. He is the one. Oh, you didn't see the last video. The Black 335. He is the master tech of Hidden Motorsports. He's
nice.
He used to work for reasons BMW, and he was the headmaster tech, like in charge of all the intricate stuff. So he knows.
Please tell me you call him the headmaster.
He is a good headmaster. I mean, sometimes there's some tickling involved, but
hey, $20 is $20, man.
Exactly. That's how we do it.
If I hate GM engineers, I can't imagine how bad BMW technicians hate BMW engineers.
Oh, you should hear the stuff that he says. Like,
yeah.
Why did they do? I ask him, like, I'm working on the car. I'm like, why is it like this? He's like, that's because why? That's how they designed it. I'm like, this is the stupidest thing in the entire world.
Stupidest, like, I mean, just trying to screw somebody out of time in their life. It's crazy.
I'm changing a valve cover. It's actually right outside the door. A valve cover on a customer's car, and the book time is like hours, like 4 or 5 hours. You got to pull off everything in the entire car to get to anything. That's what we tell people. I'm like, it's straight. BMWs are straightforward when you know what you're doing, but there's just so much you have to take apart to get to something.
Yeah.
And one thing we all hate about BMWs is they do not put dipsticks on their cars. They are electronic sensor from inside the dash only. I can never tell what my oil looks like or physically what the oil level is at.
That makes no sense.
100%. You're just not allowed to touch them.
I mean, what if an engineer made a bad decision, and I wanted to put a upgraded turbo on my BMW? The problem is, we'll talk about this for a second. The problem is, it's the dude at 100,000 miles that wants to check that stuff, that wants and isn't going to take all of that straight sixes. Tell me why I need an M88 in my life. The struggle is, like, I want to work on that thing. The Trailblazer has 200,000 on it. Like, why can't they think of that stuff? And that guy, whenever they're designing stuff, they're like, oh no.
BMW owners, once it's time for maintenance, you're supposed to buy a new BMW. That's how they have to, like. You can't do a German accent right now, but they're like, oh, don't mess with our stuff. Don't touch it.
Yeah. 50,000 mile service. Oh no, just lease another one, please.
There's so much stupid stuff in BMWs, but I love them because they're very, like, there's a lot of luxury in them, and they're still very fast. And then with minor bolt-ons, you can go very fast. But now they're getting to the point where some of the older models that are turbocharged are like $5,000 and $6,000. So you're getting these kids with no money, and they don't realize that, you bought it for $5,000, but it's still a $60,000 car.
Yeah.
So when we're like, this part costs $800 and it's going to be $1,400 in labor, they're like, what? The car barely costs that. I'm like, it's going to take me 10 hours to fix this oil leak on your car.
Yeah.
Oh, Dan loves his E36 and probably all the rusted out rockers like every single E36 has in the world.
I think Dan's car, it's an LS as well with twins. Eric tells us that car makes like 800, I think, something like that.
Yeah, there was a guy at the Bradenton Cleason Cars. I forgot his name, but he had a twin turbo BMW as well in the burnout contest, and it was the green camo with the shark, painted like the old fighter planes. I cannot remember his name.
Yeah,
Cool.
One of my favorite cars was the Audi, the all-wheel drive LS swapped Audi. That dude was insane.
Didn't he get thrown out of like LS Fest or something like that? I'm pretty sure he got thrown out of because he wouldn't stop burning out. Pretty sure he got thrown out of that event, if I recall correctly.
I like his style. The Maniac's Garage swapped the 49er 50 Ford on a like full-on BMW chassis. That's a great build.
You can do that? Wait.
Yeah.
What BMW chassis? Like the body of it, or just?
No. So like from what I understand, they chopped the body and then laid this chopped 49 or 54 down on top of it, and it worked. It's like a shoebox, not like a Mercury, like the big.
Yeah.
It's like the shoebox style. Everybody chops the top on. It's a great build. Maniac's Garage, highly recommend them. I think 2022, I'm going to start hammering them to come on and talk about that build too. Stuff with Cletus Automotive. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up?
Twin GT35 60 LS in Dan Z36. So Eric and Dan run 815 LSX swaps. They are in like Rockford, Illinois, or something like that. So
I believe we all hung out at Indy.
Yeah, yep.
I believe. Yep, I got a bunch of decals. I think you guys got me a bunch of decals for them.
Yep. I'm really glad they were there. I kept telling, so I brought a grill. I kept telling them, no, don't worry about bringing your grill. It'll be fine. We unloaded the car to go drive around on Friday night and left the damn grill in the garage and drove over on Saturday morning. So, my dumb ass. Luckily, they had their grill. They fired us up. They gave us some hot dogs, and we went on. If you don't mind, I'll tell the story of Indy and how you saved our ass.
Oh, we didn't even know you guys. I was like, you're coming over. I was like, they have an Exo cart. I automatically love these guys. And you had like no room to park. I'm like, hey, they're with us. Yeah. You park right over here.
Yeah, dude. it was so. The whole Indy video. Our Indy trip was eye-opening as to how little I know about shit. I bought a pit pass, which only got the car in, and then I thought the pit pass would get the car and myself in. That wasn't it. So we ended up paying like $400 and something to get in because we had to buy a ticket off like StubHub or some shit like that. So my brother could go in. It was crazy. So then we go to pull in. We're in line at 8:00 in the morning. You're like the first car in line.
Yeah,
You had to get there at 4:30 in the morning.
Literally across the street, and the front entrance, our B&B house was like 3 houses in from the front entrance. We were on the track.
Yeah. It was wild, dude. That's what we'll do for this year. We were close, but I think we were still 4 or 5 miles out. So we see you guys. We get parked. We're like 10th or 15th in line, something like that. I mean, it's a big, long line. And people just keep coming in. Well, when we pull through, I give the lady the pit pass. She's like, yeah, park over here in the grass, which is like nobody's ever going to see the cart.
Yep.
And I had been purposely like liking everything on your Instagram. I was commenting on shit. I was like, if this guy sees us, he'll know who we are in case something happens, right? Because we had kind of talked a little bit before, like, hey, I'd love to park the carts together. You know,
Absolutely.
I think it would look cool. You had the best parking spot of anyone that wasn't like in the YouTube area, right? Mm-hmm. Right in the corner. So we park, and I'm like pissed. Not as pissed as I was earlier when the live stream went down, but I was pretty pissed. I was like, man, nobody's ever going to see the cart down here. And they would have, but it wouldn't have been nearly as cool. Mm-hmm. And so I run up, and y'all, big ass parking lot. Like, you know, this has an oval track. It's got a drag strip. It's a big old parking lot. And I like take off running, and I run up. I'm like, dude, and you guys are setting up. Y'all are so nice. You're setting up. You got the huge tent. You know, all these shirts. Everybody's doing stuff. It looks so cool. And I'm like, hey, can I park by you guys? Because we got fucked and we're down here. And you're like, yeah, dude, come on. And so we drove up and hung out. And then Eric and Dan came over and they hung out with us all day. It was a ton of fun. My brother got to wrench on Klaus for a little bit, kind of help with the. I don't remember what you guys were changing. I know you had the turbos off at one point, but I was doing so much.
That was actually, we talked about that in the last video of how Klaus has the worst / best luck, I guess, ever. There's always something. So I talked about when he's first done, we blew up the motor like the second day drifting, the old junkyard motor. Then we built the fully built 5.3, and we kept chasing the issue of overpressurizing the coolant system and the car overheating. And that went on forever. And then when we got to Indy for the burnout contest, after it's going through the drag strip with the bad clutch racing, I'm like, this is still effing overheating. What the hell? I was like, it's pushing coolant. I was like, maybe the heads need retorqued because of the head gaskets, how they cut in.
Oh, so that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So we went through and we just basically retorqued the head gaskets. Then we did the burnout contest. And then, after 45 seconds, the car overheated. And then this time we learned from last event, we put in safety switches. So when the car hit 240 degrees, it retards all of the timing so you can't blow it up. Because I probably would have did it again.
That's pretty smart, man. That's pretty smart.
Yeah. So then that's when we ended up finding out, still couldn't. We pulled the heads, and I tested them myself because Lingenfelter said they're fine. I'm like, they're not fine. I was pouring, right in here, a bottle of water into the intake runner, and I could see it come out by the spark plug. There were little pinholes in the head so under pressure, then it would force it into there. So we had that problem. Then the second set of heads had hairline cracks by the head studs. That's why I was overheating. Engine builder put the head gaskets upside down. That's why it's overheating. Windage tray is hitting on the rods, throwing metal throughout it. So that got pulled. It's literally, this is why Klaus has not ran down the quarter mile, because every single time it's something happens. Yeah. And I'm not trying to put the blame on others, but it's always something besides me purposely blowing it up.
I didn't touch.
It's not on my fault. It's the engine builder I hired. It's these heads I paid good money for. It's these other heads I paid good money for. It's this good clutch I paid for. And then the company argued with me saying, no, send it back. It was Monster Clutch, who have been great. And it was right before Indy, like a month. And I'm like, I need another clutch. I was like, I sent it to you guys for a refresh.
Yep.
And now it's not working at all. Well, it's not us. I'm like, well, can you send me another one? I'll send it back. They're like, that's not how it works. We'll only work on yours. I'm like, I have to leave in 3 weeks. I need a clutch. They're like, sorry about your luck. And then X Clutch, the Australian company, reached out to me. They're like, we'll send you a clutch overnight. I'm like, I love you
Let's
guys.
go. Yeah.
Let's go. Send the other clutch back to Monster. And they're like, yeah, we machined it wrong. Our bad.
Oh, yep. You're bad for sure.
They sent me a new clutch back, and I just ended up selling it. I was like, they're still good guys. I'm like,
yeah.
But for you to not even want to help me, I'm like, I don't care. Send me another one. We'll work out the money, but I just need another clutch now.
Yeah, right now. Got to go in.
It's always, I'm not putting the blame on other people, but it's always something that's like out of my hands. Because if it's in my hands, I'll force it. I'll get the car done. It'll be running, but it's always something. It's always something with the car. That's what it is.
Man, hey, yeah. I completely understand 100%. 815 says Indy was an absolute blast. Just need a burnout car for this year, which he's I think bought 2 different cars that he's intended to do burnout cars with, and then has sold them. Because like he's got an LS Swap 240. He's got a Fox Bodywood twin GT45s on the LS.
Yep. I saw that one.
And so then Dan's got 2 other projects. They've just taken on like an El Camino, so they're busy. I get it. And then have you heard what the Indy 800 is?
Yeah, it's basically kind of like the 2.4 hour of the most. It's just going to be a quicker race kind of thing.
Dang. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm even trying to get into that too. We'll see how many butts I got to kiss or strings I got to pull to get into. Because that's why I'm like actually extremely grateful, because our YouTube channel's not big. Our following's not that big, but I guess it's over the past couple of years of the presence of About Kids. And like every time we've hung out with Garrett, I'm like, hey, let us help you clean up the track when it's done. Let us help you.
Yeah.
Like, for the last Gleason Cars event, you saw the whole burnout pit. Me and my crew built it. We volunteered our time to do all that stuff, and stuff like that is where he then said, you know what, you guys are part of the YouTuber section. You can park with us, sell them.
That's cool.
Do whatever.
Yep.
But we're not cool enough to get invited to these YouTuber races yet.
Dang it.
I know. It's just cool. That's like, we don't do it for that. He even said to Garrett's like, oh yeah, thanks for all the help. He was like, you guys go run through the merch booth and grab however many t-shirts you want. I was like, dude, I don't care about that stuff. That's
cool.
Like hanging. We're all sitting. Basically, Ellis George was just throwing us bush lights as we were putting this entire burnout pit together. We were all we're sitting there riding like on top of trailers and vehicles around the track, and I'm like, this is not safe. We should not. I'm glad no one's recording anything.
Yeah, we should not be doing this right now. That's awesome.
It is a whole lot of fun though. It's like stuff like that. I'm like, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's help out. It's all about networking. I tell everyone, I'm like, be nice to everyone. And I have people like, well, I hate people, screw people. I'm like, well, that's how you're missing out on opportunities. I'm like, just be a good person and be nice to everyone, because you won't realize what things will come in line. Like, there's so many people I've met just by offering help, like you, for instance. It's just like, oh yeah, you're a cool guy. Come over, hang out, do stuff.
And dude, listen, I really appreciate that day, because man, it was I was fixing to be hurt, because we'd spent so much money to get there, and then it was going to be like, nope.
I've been in those like situations before, and it sucks. So I guess that's the same way too, like why I let kids rev the car, because I was a 10-year-old kid. I would have killed to rev a Corvette or something.
Oh man!
But they're like, no, don't touch it. So I'm like, oh hey, this is this race car. You want to sit in it? They're like, yeah. I'm like, hit that start button. They're like, yeah. I'm like, hit the gas. They're like, what? I'm like, do it. People are like, what happens? I'm like, there's a rev limiter. There's been a couple kids that stood on the rev limiter for like 2 seconds. I'm like, okay, hold up, chill down. But it's like I explained in the last video too. I'm like, the future is with these younger kids. Like, I've already seen teenagers that say, what's the point of having a car? I can Uber wherever, I can do this. What's the point of a fast car? We don't need a muscle car. Just like, get an electric car. I'm like, no, stop it. You need fires and bangs, and you need to cry over our broken cars like we do. So
that's right. That's right. You need to go through what I go through.
Exactly.
Yep. That's awesome. And that's so true. Electric cars. I had this conversation with, I think it was Straight Six Fan, was about, our kids that are coming up now, like 12 and 13-year-olds that are really immersed in the Tesla and how fast the Teslas are. Are we going to see some individuality, which is why we build cars the way we build them. We want it to be ours, like, are they going to do that with, are there going to be some swaps from electric stuff that's going to be, not just interesting, but that will really raise some eyebrows?
Yeah, I mean, these electric cars are crazy. Like I was talking about before in the last video, I'm like, I am not against electric cars. I think they're awesome, but don't say I'm going to ban every other car unless it's electric. Because I would love one, maybe my daily driver, but definitely like the family one. What's it? The Model X SUV. I'd love that for a family car because it'll break anything on the road, but still. I would love one of those, but I still want the car. It's like I talk about. I have my 5-month-old son, and I hope he's into cars. I mean, hopefully he is. And
I'm sure he will be.
I've talked about it like since I was a teenager too. I'm like, when I have a son, I want his first car to be something that we build together. So like start at 12 or 13. And so I guess it would be like something with our age, working on a 70 Challenger or something, building it to be your first car. So I guess for him now, it might be a 90s DSM or it might be a something. That's their classic car. And we'll build it up. And
that's so scary.
I know, we're so old.
Dude, you have no idea yet, friend. You just wait.
Being born, that's when you tell people, like, when you're born, I'm like 1980. They're like, 80s? I'm like,
I grew 80s? Up in the 90s. Yeah.
We're in 90s. Oh, we're so old.
Yeah. It's brutal. I'm telling you, man. I graduated high school in 99. It's been a learning curve. I can only imagine, like, when my parents would say all the crazy stuff, I'm like, whatever. But now I see it and I'm like, oh my God. I have an 11 and 8-year-old daughter, it's crazy.
That's what I don't know if Mike is still watching because he's super old, but we call him like he's the grandpa in our group because I think he's turning 40 or he just turned 40 now. We're like, you're so old.
Oh yeah, Papaw, old grandpa over there. Man, that's the hard part, because like my brain tells me that I'm still in my mid-20s.
Oh, my body says hell no,
dude,
you're not.
I'm gonna take my back hurts from sitting on this stool right now. You know what I mean? I haven't done anything but sit here.
That's what I was talking about, like being an emo kid in school. Like I still wear my Chuck Taylors all the time. Yeah. But I have Dr. Scholl's inserts in my Chuck Taylors now.
Oh my God. So 815, I guess, is probably asking how old you are. I think you were mid-30s, right? 36 and 4 or something like that.
Actually 33. I'll be 34 in June.
There you go. Yep.
So kind of pretty old,
Yeah, dude, man, you're decrepit. You're decrepit right now.
I'm at the part now where I just basically wear Crocs everywhere I go now because I don't care about life. I mean, what?
That's awesome. Got the 4-wheel drive part switched down, man. I'm ready to go.
There is a guy that's online. He's making spoilers and exhaust for your Crocs. They hook onto the back of them, and I want that.
I mean, that's genius. Like all the little stuff that you could get for your Crocs. Who would have thought those shoes would have been such a huge hit?
Oh man.
Eric he's 35 with the 16 and 13-year-old. Dude, you didn't waste no time. I'll give you that. You didn't waste no time.
I can't imagine that'd be like me having a 14-year-old.
Dude, the good thing is though,
sitting here, I'd be like, bro, what's up? What are you doing?
You'd be like, hey, grab me that wrench. Work on this.
Why are these heads not pulled off the car yet?
Yeah. Hey, Dad's talking. You work.
Dad is working over here. Get to
work. Yeah. 12-ounce curls. The cool thing about that though, like, by the time the 13-year-old's out of the house, you would think at college, I mean, like, he's going to be 42 or 3. I mean, he'll be as old as I am. I got 10 years left with a kid at home, minimum.
I got 18 years left. And then, of course, the wife wants. She said, "Oh yeah, definitely need 2 more." I'm like, 2 more,
man. Well, now listen. Here's the deal. My grandma said you can't have an odd number of kids. You have to have 2 or 4.
So, 2, not 4. not 4.
I think after 3 it gets easier. So, dude, just go right for 4.
I need money for.
Hey, I know. And the struggle is then you got to build a minivan, and I don't know what a Hellcat swap is going to cost for me to put in a Pacifica, but I'd like to know.
No, that's what me and my wife luckily agree on. We will never have a van because the X5 is a 5-seater, and then it's got the 3rd row with 2 more seats. I'm like, it's plenty.
You're set. This
never
will do it.
Ever have a minivan.
Yeah, dude. Hey, listen, I'd drive the Hellcat minivan. I would drive that.
That one,
I would do that. I just don't. I would hate to try and build that myself. That would be insane because it'd be a burnout rig. I mean, I'm not going to worry. In the rendering they had all-wheel drive. I'm like, nah. I just need rear.
Plumber's Crack, YouTuber. He's got the burnout van. Next to him, he's got super sweet. I can't remember. It's a big block Chevy, but he runs it on straight methanol, and I think it's nasty. He's
awesome.
won the last 2 events in a row, and that's when Garrett called him out, and I was like, "It's time for you to be in Burnout Rivals," which is what I signed up for. So it's basically you're competing against all the other YouTubers now.
Yep.
I'm like, your car's pretty good, and that's the way to go with a burnout car is methanol. You don't have to worry about overheating because you physically can't overheat. Just
I was going to say
hold it down and go.
The heat aspect, and then just at that level to be able to turn that much timing in. You know what I mean? Like you're
so much timing,
way more timing than what you've got. So I mean, another couple 100 horsepower helps, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he was talking to me. I was like, oh yeah, so what's like the air to fuel ratio? He's like, I go for like 5 to 1. I'm like, 5?
What?
I was like, what?
That's crazy, dude.
And it was on a carbureted. I'm like, you can run methanol on carbureted? I was like, I know nothing about the carbureted world. I make fun of my friends that still believe in carburetors. I'm like, stop it.
I don't tune with a wrench. I can't, or a screwdriver. I can't do that.
I don't have my New Balances on or my jean shorts. I can't do that.
That's awesome.
Oh man.
Yep. Some New Balance and jorts, man. You're set. Dude, what else we need to talk about, man? I feel so bad about cutting out earlier. I really had jazzed myself up all day for it. I was excited, and then it went to hell. And you got to tell all these cool stories, and I didn't get to hear any of them. What other stuff? What other projects do you have?
We dabble in pit bikes. That was over last winter. Was that when we started? So we bought them for like $200 a piece, and then you buy a Harbor Freight motor, and then you're like, oh, I wonder what a built motor's like. And then you go on to like gopowersports.com, and you see a piston, rod, crankshaft, camshaft kit is $180 for billet. They're all billets, and I'm like, that's it. I was like, that's a bar tab. Sometimes I'm like, bye. And then we got videos of us of how to take your 6 horsepower 212 Predator to 20 horsepower, and like mine runs on E85 with everything.
That's awesome.
It's fast. Like my pit bike does, I think we said 56 miles per hour with the gearing. I mean, it could go faster depending on your gearing, but that way it still accelerates pretty quick. And we use that for pit bikes at the track until we bought these electric scooters.
Dude,
they're kind of like, they're basically the bird scooters, but we tuned them. You can get there's like apps and there's programs to where you can download it, you reflash the ECU and make them faster. So these do over 20 miles per hour, and
what's up.
Yeah, they'll drive all day at the track, and we use them for everything. And we got those on a deal, and I couldn't pass up. So I'm like, we use those more than the bike.
I have an electric scooter that I bought just for race week, and took it and didn't bring the charger, and battery died. So we were at Mid-America Raceway, and I had to go up and see if I could use the portable car hoist guy. And so it had like one bar on it, and we had been kind of riding on that one bar for a little while. And so as I'm going up there, it dies, has no more juice. So I'll tell you, kicking an electric scooter sucks ace. It's the worst because it's so heavy.
Well, that's how ours are. Unless you're on the gas, the regenerative braking is on. So it's like having a brake on.
Yeah.
Oh man, on the gas.
It was brutal. And so like and Mid-America Dragways in like Arkansas City, Kansas, or something like that. It's literally an old Air Force air base that they've converted to a racetrack that's in the middle of the country. No lights, no anything like that, right? Super cool history, but like where we parked was at least a half mile from where I was. Dude, it was the longest ever. Oh, it was brutal. And so I'd get off and walk it for a while, you know.
I tell people electric scooters are the best thing because they are better than pit bikes, because a pit bike, big and bulky and heavy and smells like gas. This folds up into something this big and it's just awesome. And
you throw it in the back of the cart and roll on. Yeah,
we throw them in, Klaus, like when we're with it too. And that's what I just want to do, a drag and drive event so bad. Like one of the videos, I think it was in the springtime or the summer, is when I got the full hitch system hooked up with the car, and I got it hooked into the roll cage and stuff too, so I could handle like 1,000 pounds, because what I want to do is actually haul his race trailer to the track and haul it there too, and be like, oh yeah, the race car hauls its own race trailer just in case it breaks, and it can pull in, and then the truck hooks up or whatever.
Yeah. Where's Rich Guido when we're talking about all this?
Oh,
because that's what he does.
Yeah, I was like, it's built to do everything. Like I've already hooked it up to very heavy trailers. Like when we do our every third Saturday of the month, we do our Ernest Brews and Race Car Cruise event at the Ernest Brewery that we're always at. It's like a big old hangout. We tell people to think of it like a tailgate. It starts at noon. We drink beers. We talk about cars all day. We play cornhole. It's outside hangout with your car friends instead of cars and coffee. Yeah, it's instead of like, because I was saying in the last video, I'm like, cars and coffee is at 8 a.m. on a Sunday. Yep. You detail your cars. It's a bunch of old white guys that don't know anything about a car. I'm like, oh yeah, what have you done to this Ferrari? I had it detailed 2 weeks ago. Like,
bought it.
Oh, what's the fat, or like how quick has it gone? Well, they say it can do this. I'm like,
later, Eric.
This is boring. And then finally, there's at least some cool guys that build stuff. And then they get to me, they're like, oh, what is this? And then I built a car. You wrote a paycheck. I appreciate what you do.
Yep.
But there's a difference between, I guess, car enthusiasts and car appreciators. I don't know. Is that
that's
there's
the
people
best way
that
to put
like
it.
cars. They like Lamborghinis and
Yep.
Ferraris and fast cars, and they're Challenger kids. The new racers of the world is what I call them. Those guys. And then there's people that actually, I respect a kid that took a Honda Civic, all-wheel drive, swapped it, or or even just a front-wheel drive, did a turbo on it. And some guys like, yeah, look at what I just bought, my Lamborghini.
Yep.
Cool. Did you do anything to it? No. I'm like, well, this kid spent a year and took his 100 horsepower car to 400. He's doing this.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why I don't really like cars and coffees, because that's why actually I don't go to SEMA. I'm not a big SEMA guy because it's artwork, it's car art. I like it, but PRI, it's engines, transmissions, mechanicals. I'm all about building it. I respect someone way more that even has $500 into a car they built over someone who wrote a check and bought a car. I mean, I still like the car, but it's not as cool as this built car or this, like, Crown Victoria that someone turned into like a cart or something like that.
Yeah. So, dude, I can't agree with you more. And 815, Eric was just talking about you need to be on the LSX Talk podcast, which you guys will have to set that up.
For sure. It's a great I'm down podcast. For
that. The struggle I have with cars and coffee is that it's really the only event that is consistent here in Northwest Arkansas. And so it'll get like 300 to 500 cars. Well, for a lot of the guys that attend that event, that's the only event they'll attend. So we had discussed some, and I may end up doing it for 2022. I don't know yet. It'll depend on how wild we go with the podcast and live feed stuff. But we had discussed doing, like a brews and cruise, and just hang out and be old cars and like talking to folks and things like that. So I think
actually our name. That's our Saturday. Our name. It's Ernest Brews and Race Car Cruise, but we all just call it Brews and Cruise.
Yeah.
So we tell people, I'm like, it's super laid back. I bring a grill. We have our whole merch booth set up, but I also bring my home grill. I cook free burgers, brats, and dogs and chips.
Oh, that's cool, man.
We bring cornhole boards. We tell people, like, it's a big hangout. And then we actually have a lot of older gentlemen that bring like 1920s and 30s Fords and Model Ts and
super cool stuff. Yeah.
And we make a point. We go over there because since they're interested in something like what we're doing, we're like, your car's awesome. These guys are like here at every single event. Yeah. And they bring out the lawn chairs and sit up. I'm like, this is a super laid back, have some beers, everyone hang out and talk about cars instead of here's some coffee at 8 a.m. Look at this car you can't afford. And then they have their group of, well, how's your Ferrari? Or mine's only one owner. Mine's only this. And
super fancy folks.
Yeah, we actually got a video on my YouTube channel where last spring or summer, we took Klaus to a Cars and Coffee event, and I left my top-mounted camera on the roll cage roll the entire time. And there's people talking. There's one guy's like, I mean, that's cool and all, but what do you even need more than 300 horsepower on the street? Any more than 300 horsepower in any car is ridiculous. And I'm like,
what?
Every car has 300 horsepower nowadays.
Yeah. There's 4-cylinder Mustangs with 300 now.
Exactly.
I mean, like, it's brutal. That's probably the best way to describe Cars and Coffee is a little bit of not a whole lot of pompous ass, folks. There's some cool stuff, but like we pulled in with the cart one time, and a guy literally followed us in a Gambler Crown Vic that was lifted.
Yes,
I mean, it was
that's
like
the coolest thing.
Dude, we parked across from each other, and like there were some Ferraris and Lamborghinis and some super cool like late '60s stuff. Like you could tell really nice stuff that doesn't ever come out. And then the mass of people like just start like coming our way, and that's what I tell people about the cart all the time. People look at our cart, like not necessarily your cart, but ours, because they're like, I can build that.
Yeah.
That guy took a Crown Vic and did that,
I tell people the same thing about mine too. I'm like, yeah, it snowballed into a really good engine and turbo setup, but originally I was like, you can do this. And that's the same thing too. Like, the TRC, so that racing channel, which I'm sure you know, they did a full feature on us. So that's on their channel, they have it, and I think I shared some of it, or I downloaded it and like did some cuts for my own. But there was actually, as we were filming and doing drag racing, there was a car show happening. It was a classic car show down the road. We passed it while we were flying, and we're like, classic car show, let's turn around. This will be good footage. And we pulled in, parked next to like 72 Challengers and stuff like that. There might have been like one or two people randomly walking around looking at cars. We pull in, and it's a horde of people right over there. And that's how it was at the Cars and Coffee event we went to. People are just randomly walking. We pull in. Of course, I hit the 2-step button, give it some 2 steps. What's up? And then people just come over, especially they're like, what is this thing? And I'm like, that's the reaction I like, instead of, that's a really nice Lamborghini. Or, I like, what the F is this? How drunk were you when you made this? And I'm like,
that's right. Dude, we had a hood stack on the old truck it didn't have a hood. It just had the 90-degree up and wastegate. They looked really cool, man. And before we did it, I took it to a car show, and I back in and I just put that son of a bitch on the limiter. And this guy had and it was a nice car. It was like a late 70s, early 80s, 240. Or 280, whatever they are, like the big long nose car. And it was nice, and it was white. And like you could almost see him in a sprint coming over, and like walks up, and I'm getting out. I'm slamming the door on the truck. I'm the shit that flew around in the back because I did a burnout as I passed. I'm like, all that stuff. He's like wiping down the car. I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine. Like, I get nice paint. I understand, and I can appreciate that. But like, dude, like I don't want to own anything like that ever. I don't ever want to own anything that I'm like, oh my God, it has dust on it now from this dude's exhaust next to me. And he was like, he had a spray wax. He's waxing it down. He like immediately gets in it and parks it somewhere else. I'm like, that's no fun. So I did it again.
I think my daily driver BMW, which has like 600 horsepower in the kill tune, and it's like 400 on the 93 tune. I think it gets washed twice a year, maybe 3 times a year.
Nice.
It's in the car. And then people are like, oh, you just hit the wall. So, you wall tap during burnout. So like, oh, your paint, or like I'll strap the cornhole boards to the top of it before we had the trailer mount. And I strapped the mini bike to the side of it before. I actually strap it. People are like, oh, it messes up the paint. I'm like, this is Rust-Oleum red and Rust-Oleum black. I go, and we're good.
It's good.
It's so nice having something that's not super nice, because that's what I put the sign on. Feel free to sit in the car. People are like, oh, what happens if they get in and break something? I'm like, what physically can you break in the car? You might have to like drop kick my dash to hit the screen.
You're gonna have to do something.
You're not gonna hurt anything. I was like, and it's such like a stress relief knowing I can park cars. Like, no one's gonna do anything. I mean, I get worried that sometimes if I leave it for an overnight somewhere, I'm like, oh, someone's gonna steal a turbo or something off of it. But I don't really do that. But I'll go to the mall with it, or we'll go around. I'll park it, and I mean, there's no keys. There's a sequence to start it, which none of you guys know how to start it. But I'm not worried about it. And like, oh, what if someone sits in it while you're gone? Like how you get people that will sit on random motorcycles because they think that they're allowed to just sit on a random motorcycle.
Right.
I mean, I'm not worried about it. I'm like, not going to hurt it.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Right. And it's, I think that's probably the fun of it, and especially for them too. jump in there and they get their picture, and then they, like nobody typically is going to try and hurt anything.
There's been so many times that I've either been rolling down the street or the car's parked somewhere. Some random guy I don't know puts it on his Snapchat, his TikTok, Facebook, whatever kids these days are using.
Yep.
And then I get tagged in it. They're like, oh, that's Hidden Motorsports car. That's this. I'm like, oh, hey, that's me.
Yep. I'm always in the bad. I'm on the bad drivers page wherever I go. Wherever I go, doesn't matter. It's like I took it to Wichita to hang out with Watch JR Go one time, and it was January, and I had like built this cabin to keep the heat in, and so I'm driving through Wichita traffic and just start getting tagged, and people like sending me screenshots of the Wichita bad drivers. I'm like, oh my God, it's 4 hours from me.
Someone actually tried doing that. I think it was like this year, probably in the springtime. I guess it was someone that's never seen the car, because by the time this year, a lot of people know what this car is. There's a BMW page called Clapped Out Bimmers.
Oh,
and it's basically where everyone takes pictures of the worst looking BMWs that are just rust buckets falling apart. Someone took a picture. They're like, haha, look at this one I saw going down the street. It's probably the worst one ever. And then they tag me. They're like, that's Carl with Hidden Motorsports. He's the king of our Clapped Out Bimmers group.
That's awesome. And you're like, what y'all don't know is it really is a great car.
There's so
I want to say hi to Bad Tree Productions. This live feed is going way better for me. We're an hour and a half in, and last time I made it 20 minutes, and then Carl took it on for another 20.
I'm trying to give a little bit of information, but it's much fun more talking to someone instead of talking to myself.
Yeah, conversating by yourself, dude. That's why I started having guests, man. Because one, I love talking about. I love getting stories. I love finding out like how you got there and all that kind of stuff. Hey, thanks, dude. Thanks on the 3,000 subs.
3,000? I want to be there someday. I'm still only at 1,000.
Dude, it's so weird. Well, I'll tell you something. We have a lot of new folks that are paying attention to our channel, right? Mm-hmm. So we grow at 2 or 3 a day. Okay, nothing wild. Except on race week, we grow pretty big on race week because it's just so dumb, right? I get some. Yeah. And then, but we've been hard at it for about 3.5 years. We've got, I think this makes number 700 for video count. So just keep that in the back of your mind, everybody. So we didn't get here overnight for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm at, I don't even know, 100 and something. I don't even know what I'm at now.
Dude, Bad Tree Productions is 19 subs away from 3,000. So everybody that's watching this, go over and sub to that. Let me grab his link real quick.
Bad Tree Productions. I'm going to click on you right now.
Can we say? I think I can say sub on the live stream. I think I can do it, but I don't think anybody needs to say it in the chat or something like that.
So what you do is you pull it up, and you hit this little red button that says subscribe right there. Boom, subscribed.
Yeah, then the bells, then all the stuff.
Bells, scissor kick, the like button, YouTube things.
All that stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, he's got some cool stuff. There's a dart. Oh, that 402 dart's sick.
Yeah, I dropped the link to his channel in the chat, and it should be up on YouTube and Facebook as well.
Oh, yeah, he's got some cool stuff in there.
Yeah, he's got a great channel.
People. That's what I like.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I've debated on just really getting rid of. I don't have Motor Trend. I had almost bought the subscription to Motor Trend, but I'm like, I don't need to spend any more time watching any more TV than what I do now.
I almost want to cancel my cable because it's just all YouTube guys I watch now. Supporting, I guess, the smaller guys. All of us that do it for fun. I got so many, like on my personal YouTube, people that I'm subscribed to because that's just what I watch throughout the day. I don't watch anything on TV. Even I have Motor Trend TV because it's included with my package.
Yep.
I don't even watch it because I hate commercials.
Yeah.
So I got YouTube Premium because I don't want to see an ad. I don't want to see anything. I hate it.
He says, it's hard keeping up on YouTube and have no time for TV. Editing videos, I bet 6 videos in the hopper right now to edit that I literally with doing the 12 pods of Christmas I don't have time for. We've got a bunch of other stuff going on in life too. You got Christmas and all the travel that comes along with that.
I re-shrubbed your front yard.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Let's see.
See, I've never done live videos on my. Am I allowed to? Don't
Yeah,
you need to be like a certain amount of
No.
people?
So
subscribers to do live feeds?
you can do lives. You just can't accept, like, you wouldn't have the opportunity, like Destroyer earlier that donated. You wouldn't be able to do any of that because you're not monetized. But yeah, you can do lives, and you got to start doing that, dude. I'm telling you,
start doing that. That's
we
fun.
talked about before. You know, the great thing about the comments is stuff like what's going on right now. You know, these guys are commenting. We're actually conversating about their comments. You know, it works out well, and especially with the following you have. I'll jump over and grab.
Instagram is huge. Like my Instagram's like 10,000 followers. I'm like,
yeah,
why can't y'all like follow the Hidden Motorsports YouTube channel? That would really help out a lot.
Yep. So, we've been down the rabbit hole of just sending so many people on our Instagram. Like I started going through the followers. I was like, hey, this is a recent video that I liked. This is a recent video, that I did, what was my favorite recent. And it seemed to help. It brought some people over. If you've got 10,000, dude, if you could send just, 50 people a message every day, it'd take you 2 years to get through it. But, you'd gain 600 or 700, I'm sure.
That's what I'll ask some of you guys watch right now. But I was talking with you earlier because in Northern Ohio, we can't really do much in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And that's why last year we built mini bikes. And there's only people are like, oh, rebuild the engine. I'm like, there's like literally 3 videos of me rebuilding this motor. I don't even want to watch me do it again. It's not that fun. But
right.
We were thinking of doing like power hour or something like that, or just make it a half hour to where we start off like the first 10 or 15 minutes talking about like each member of the group for the video.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second 15 minutes of that is we talk about an automotive related subject, like something that's controversial with cars going on right now, or what do you think about this? But it's also power hour. And I was thinking, I'm like, we start off the video, the group of 4 or 5 of us shotgun a beer. Then after that, it's every 10 minutes, you have to finish 1 beer. So like, 10-minute timer, you better finish that beer. Because as you have more, you're going to get a little more talkative. You're going to get a little more opinionated. And you're in a group with your 4 or 5 buddies. Because I know every single one of you watching, when you guys go out to the bar or anywhere, and there's 3 or 4 of you car guys, you have a couple beers, the conversation turns to cars, and you're all talking about cars. The wives are sitting back there like, I hate all of you.
Why did I go out? My wife, she won't go out with me and my buddies anymore, really, because she's like, all you're gonna do is talk about cars, and like me and the wives stand over there and figure out what we're gonna do.
My wife
just gonna do what I want.
thing too. Luckily now, because we've been together for like 8 years, she's like, I kind of know what you're talking about most of the time. She's like, at the beginning, she was like, I don't know what you guys are saying. You guys are all talking about turbo this and this. I don't know what you're saying.
Well, and what's funny, I'm sure you're on Sloppy Mechanics. The memes Matt always shares is like 48, 80, 80E, 88. It's just like
neutrals, and they're like, what? What's that mean?
Yeah. So it's just like you run through the SBE 53, 70, 75, 80E. It's just like the string of shorthand, what we call it anymore.
That's always like the people that are outside of the BMW world. So like when I say E36, E39, F10, F12, you just keep going. People are like, what's that mean? I'm like, it's the chassis designation of the car.
Yep.
Which I don't know. Is that like that in other car groups? Do they talk about chassis, or is that just the BMW world?
I really think it's probably more like BMW and Nissan does a big deal, and then I think Lexus gets into that a little bit too.
Yeah, I don't know why we talk about what chassis the car is.
Yeah, because
BMW is one of those companies that they don't have names for their cars. Every number means something. Like the 325. I think that's like what that was the 3 is how basically long the car is. The second number is the engine. And then the third number means whether it's it's something else. Yep. Now in the newer ones, it means whether it's turbo or not turbo, but they don't believe in names. It's their numbers, and all the numbers mean exactly what they are.
Yes.
Yeah. Weird.
Well, and like for BMW stuff, especially like an E36 encompasses all of the 3 series, right?
Yeah,
like
it's
yeah.
Well, it's a 3 Series from 92
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
99.
But
So
I mean,
it's-
like you could say E36, and it would be everything from a 320. I mean, is that a 318? Was that bodies? Yeah,
318, 320, 325, 328, 330.
yeah,
Well, no, 328 was the highest one in the E Series.
yeah,
And then they moved to 330s. Yeah, it's
yeah,
almost like in the other world saying Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen
yeah.
3. Ha, Nagasaki Swirly Boys. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. That's
We
right.
called those. Those were
Yep.
my Chinese choo-choos, which are like back on my fridge up there because I took them off. I mean, they were fine, but
Yeah,
I got big turbos.
yeah.
So we always
And
think about
what's
what we're going to do.
what's on it now? It's the 7265. Is that what it is?
It was GT35s, which I believe
Yep.
were 6261s, and now these
Yep.
are 7271s.
7271. Yep.
So
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, one of these turbos alone, you could hook up to an LS and
Mhm.
make 1,000, but
Yeah,
I run two.
yeah.
Like, yeah, when I was
mean-
making over 1,000 horsepower, they were like at 20% wastegate duty cycle. Like they weren't even barely spooling.
That's awesome. For all the guys that are just popping in, the car makes 1,200 plus wheel and weighs 2,800 pounds. So,
But yeah,
you know,
it was 1,200 on the 5.3 motor and
Yeah.
the small turbos. So this is the 6-liter with the big turbos. And when we dynoed it that time is when we had that monster clutch issue, and the clutch
Yep.
was slipping past 950. But who knows?
yeah,
As soon as we get
just
everything worked out, we're in it. But
all of it.
it's like what I told the tuner. I'm like, there's no point. The bigger number, I guess, is for Internet Cloud because the wastegate tune is like 900 horsepower. It spins the tires anyways on the street. So
Yeah.
what's the point?
Well, like, so the old truck makes like a legit 500 wheel, and it was built for burnouts and ice cream. We had that conversation earlier.
Yeah.
40 roll in hard in second, and it just obliterates the tire smoke show. Like burnouts, man.
It's all it's for. That's like then the only reason like I take it off of the waste or like basically turn the boost controller on is if I'm on the drag strip and I've already dialed in our wastegate tune, which hasn't happened yet.
Because you can't make so typically is it axles that are giving you struggles, if the engine isn't overheating?
They are giving me struggles when they're wheel hopping and I'm keeping my foot in the gas instead of getting out of it like I'm supposed to.
Yeah, that's what happened when I broke the rear pinion yoke and the drive shaft on the old truck. We were going to attempt a 300-foot burnout then, and it was like 2 hops, and then it just, wow! I was like, oh, perfect, tires are spinning, and then the drive shaft just went, la 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 la, So, bad treat, fastest pass in the car's 11.2, right?
Yeah, the fastest pass is a laughable 11.2 at 60. It's like 62 or 67 miles per hour because at the 330 foot, one of the coolant freeze blocks out of the head pushed itself out because that's when we had the little crack in the combustion chamber in the head. So it was just pushing, I guess, exhaust gases into the coolant pressure, overpressurized it, blew it out. So it was like a 330 foot. I got out of it and just rolled through the traps. And you can see that. I mean, it was like a 1.4 something 60 foot.
God, dude, you were on a mission.
And that was like, the first time really on the track. And then every other time on the track, it was broken axle. One of the buddies who put on my skinnies, put the tire on crooked. I mean, they said everything was torqued right. But once I got up to 60 and 70, it started shaking more and more and more. And I could see the tire go like this as I'm driving. And then, there was the clutch issue racing. It's an issue.
Dude, hey, it's hard.
I have
it's
not
hard
made
to...
one actual pass. I'm like, hey, I made a good pass. I have not done that yet because I've gone down the drag strip 9 times, and all 9 times something has happened.
So Dan was in there saying that he liked the car, and I didn't know. I'm sure he's probably seen it before, but I mean, if we're going to take the opportunity to bring it up here, I'm gonna do it. So hang on just a second. This is probably one of my favorite shots of the car too, just because it looks so cool.
Oh yeah, that was actually over a year and a half ago. That was on the new engine and his first turbo setup. The first time, that was the setup that 1320 video shared around, and basically when it got internet famous and got shared everywhere.
Right. So this area back here I'm circling now, this is our next step on our cart. I'm going to do something like this just because I want to mount some mountain bike racks, and I think that would make a great spot for a mountain bike rack.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, with all the driving we're going to do, Bad Tree Ass doesn't have a Getrig. No, it's a T56 Magnum, right?
T56 Magnum. Yeah, the BMW trans would not have been able to hold anything.
Yeah, it doesn't like any of that stuff.
T56 Magnum, where it's at, two T56s, the regular ones, are overpriced. They're all like $2,000 for used beat up ones. The Magnum has 30% larger gears, and it's stronger, and it's about $1,000 more. So what Liberty Gears explained to me is we can build your T56 up, and it'll be just as good as a Magnum. And then that's where you're going to end off. Or you can start off with a Magnum and then go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, Liberty Gears is who does the trans in Tom and Blaine, or Tom Stark's wagon. Yeah.
They're about 45 minutes north of me, and that's where I would.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep, and that's who sold me. I mean, I haven't talked to him in like a year because this Magnum is.
It just works.
No, it's working fine right now. It's all
that's great.
Stock, so we'll see how long it lasts.
Man, that's crazy. No, it's still the it's a M5.
Yep, M5 rear, and it's a 210 millimeter. So it's a M5 out of I guess like it's a 97. So it's out of the E39 generation, which is like a 95 to like 99 or something like that. M5 with M3 rear axles, and
so is that a bolt-in piece?
It's a bolt-in, except the brace. A company called Rally Road E36, which is also just north of me in Michigan. He makes this billet conversion bracket to where everything bolts in except where the back of the diff bolts in. He makes a little bracket. It bolts right in. The M3 axles bolt right to it.
That's cool.
Other than that, it's fine. I mean, it's like $100 brace. You can't go wrong. But the diffs are getting harder to find because everyone wants them, and then everyone's like, they're like, I know what you're going to do with it, so give me $500-$600 for it.
Right? That's crazy. But, dude, what haven't we talked about?
I don't even know. Life in general. What's the meaning of life?
Streetcar Chronicles. Back at it. Yeah, bud. Listen, hey, what happened was.
So I said what had happened was.
So I'm going to go back and watch that video after probably tomorrow when my PTSD goes away.
Hold that thought. I got to knock at my door.
All right. I'm going to see what the PTSD is and go back because it literally, the thunder clapped so hard and the lights shut off in the shop for a split second. And when it came back up, the internet was down. So it must have hit something with Cox cable here in Bentonville. It literally knocked the cable out for a while. I didn't have any internet in the house. I was so mad. Carl kept it going for like 20 minutes trying to buy me some time to get back. It wouldn't work. He literally closes it and Alexa dings in the kitchen. And I was like, Alexa, play songs I like. And it started playing. I was like, these sons of bitches. So I messaged Carl. I'm like, hey, dude, get back on with me. Let's go. And he's like, I need to drink beers anyway. So we did that. And we're back. I've tried to share it to a bunch of pages, but I'm sure Round 2 doesn't always do it as well. I was just kind of telling them about my struggles inside. And then Streetcar Chronicles, Ryan Wing, another person that has donated so we can have the podcast room. Let me show you guys a picture that I sent to Carl a few minutes ago. That was crazy. It's my backyard, and it does this from time to time just because of how the yard is. At one point we had a creek that ran through, this would have been 50 or 60 years ago that the creek would have ran through here. But this was my back porch when I came home today from work at about, it was probably 3:30 or 4 o'clock when I came home. literally the spot just to the right of this picture is the driveway that goes back to the shop. You can see the truck parked in front of it, is ankle deep. So as it rained very, very hard earlier when all the power and everything went out here, that was no longer ankle deep. It was deeper. But I was running through it. So I was soaked to my knees. My shoes, I never took my shoes off once I got inside streetcar. Yeah, we had talked about doing I actually had message Carl said, I think I need to start building boats.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was. Yeah, it's all of a sudden, because I remember we were sitting there, we're talking about stuff.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden your face froze. And I'm still talking. I'm like, oh, maybe he's just staring at me.
Yep.
And I was like, hello? Yeah, I think we lost him.
Yep. Well, and then on my side, it so typically when that happens, it will go black and then it will start swirly, catching back up, all that kind of stuff. And so I sit here for a few minutes like, okay, come on. And then it would not. So I messed around out here for like 10 minutes. I reset the little plug-in satellite deal that Andy's computer repair has us set up with, and none of that worked. And so Carl's just going, and I'm like messaging, oh my God, dude, hang on. I got to get in the house. And
just
so
rolling with it, talking about life, cars, future plans, what we're going to do. Yeah, you asked about
Ryan said you played it off well. He said you played it off well.
Good, thank you. I tried. Like, this happens. This is normal. Everything's fine. You know, my life is kind of like, that meme of where the dog's sitting at the table drinking coffee, everything's on fire, and he's like, this is fine. It's kind of my life. This is fine.
That's awesome. All right, later, Bad Tree. Thanks for stopping in, dude. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I think we didn't really talk about our future plans with Klaus was to eventually get down the track.
Yeah,
physically that. And then as for modifications, it's really the only thing I can think about next I want is an air to water intercooler. Get rid of all the piping. And then the brick that's just kind of like in the middle and the Holly intake. Get that, put that in there. Yeah. We have the nitrous kit to install. That's on our drift vehicle. That's actually on Mike's 5 Series. He let me drift. We ended up breaking that really, really bad at our drift event last month. We hooked up the nitrous kits because the car probably made like 100 horsepower, and we ended up throwing like 75 shot through it or something like that.
Yeah.
With no tune. So the wheel bearings blew out. All 3 engine mounts blew out. That when I was giving it gas, the engine was jumping out of the car so bad it put like a softball size print, like in the hood.
Careful, there's going to be some guys in the comment section here in a minute. We'll get kicked off Facebook again.
It was like a softball size dent in the hood because the engine was jumping out of the car, and I was like,
"That's crazy."
That's crazy. Fun. But Mike is actually doing, I guess, his version of Ruby. He was supposed to be starting it now. He's a little late on it, but it's getting big old 427.
That's awesome.
Turbo 400, solid rear, and he's going for like 7s, just straight drag racing car.
That's cool.
It's almost like I have a Leroy, he has a Ruby kind of thing. But that's what he's like. He just wants to go as fast as he can. I'm all about like, let's go fast, but let's have more fun.
Well, like David Williams was on last night, and his car makes, I think he said it makes like 1150, and he's like, I want to do a mile long burnout. He's like, that's the purpose of the car. He's like, I've done a couple like half to 3/4 mile.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's a SC400 with a big inch, big turbo LS setup in it.
Oh, that's how it was. Klaus 1.0 before the accident. The foot brake was for my front brakes, and then my hydro brake was for the rear brakes. They weren't together. So for this one, to make it safer, it's all actually Willwood in the back, 2 sets of Willwoods in the back, and Z06 brakes in the front. The big 06 pistons. Yeah. And the pedal now does the front and back, but I have a valve that's like right next to my shifter. I can close, and it'll shut the pressure off to the rear. So during burnout contests and drifting, I can keep the rear tires free so you're not heating up. It was actually really funny because at the event a couple weeks ago, Cooper walked up.
I had never thought about a proportioning valve on the cart, because that's our biggest struggle.
Yeah,
like I put a line lock, I'm putting a line lock on the cart, and I'm like, man, I need, but
Line lock, you got to push a button or worry about it. And actually, it was funny at the event, Cooper we were talking about, oh yeah, burning through brakes. He's like, look, this is something new. I've never seen someone have. See this little valve? I turn it and it shuts it off. I was like, oh really? That's cool. Look at my car. I was like, you see this little valve? I shut it off. He's like, you're joking, right? I was like, no, we got this thing. I was like, I looked at the pressure raise and I tried to look online and I'm like, I don't know why it won't work. So it's a shut-off valve. So because line locks, you pump up the brakes, you push the button and it'll hold it. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to have to worry about that. I don't want my back brakes to work at certain times.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if that'll hold it on, why can't I just have a valve that just doesn't let the pressure go?
Dude, the proportioning valve would have been so much smarter. Damn it.
That's what I did. It was literally like $8 on eBay.
Yeah.
Or on Amazon.
Yeah. We were at Summit on 2.0, Race Week 2.0, and I bought it. I was like, man, I got to have this. So we were going to wire it up in the parking lot and all this kind of stuff. And then it was just too damn hot down there.
Yeah. No. It was, trust me, get a proportioning valve and be done with it. And you don't have to have the glowing brakes. And on lower horsepower cars, it's a little bit easier to get the tires going.
Yeah. So the cart right now probably makes, I don't know, maybe 250 and has a 31-inch tall tire. So it's like it hates life. And like since it doesn't have a big converter in it yet, it's like, so.
Literally, I have 2 eBay turbos worth $120 on my shelf. Throw some eBay turbos in.
Yep.
And you're good.
Yeah, so I should have gone with the GT35 on the cart just for spooling, but the GT45 just looks so much cooler.
Yeah, that's actually what these come out to be is twin GT45s is basically what they are.
That's awesome. Justin is asking, did you say earlier you were around Tampa? No, he's in Toledo, Ohio.
Yes.
Yeah.
A month ago, I was in Tampa.
Yeah.
For the Cleats and Cars event. But Toledo, Ohio, way up north. Actually, yesterday it was 62 degrees, and right now it's 31 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way it is here in Northwest Arkansas, too. We ended up yesterday or 2 days ago, it was 70. Wednesday it was 70, and today it was like 45, but tonight's going to be 25. So
that's the same. I've never been out to Arkansas, but it sounds like Ohio.
Yeah,
is there just a lot of cornfields and stuff?
Oh no, we have a little bit of. They're called the Ozark Mountains, but they're really like large hills. Yeah. That's why I need the mountain bike racks on the cart. Right now, I have just a slide-in hitch that goes in the back. Doesn't look nearly as cool. Yeah,
Ohio's just flat. It's everything's flat, and there's corn and cows.
Yeah.
Yep. See, Illinois, same thing.
Dude, that's great for street racing.
It is actually. Yeah, we race literally anywhere. It's all the country roads, and you can race. We have a few spots that we. I was going to say,
Ohio used to, and I have not been into street racing in a long time, like actually doing it, and so Ohio was always a big thing. And Illinois, of course, because you're not far from Chicago most of the time. So those guys get wild.
Yeah, there's a lot of street racing here in Toledo, but there's like a generation gap. I guess it's the guys with the bigger horsepower and us that are in our 30s and stuff like that. We go to one spot and we don't broadcast it. And of course, we're in part of all the Facebook groups that are the 21, 22-year-olds. Like, and there's always a spot. It's called Hoffman Road. It's like basically outside of like a downtown area, but it's what do they call it? Commercial or business district. It's all warehouses that are
like
closed
industrial,
at night. Yeah, it's industrial, and it's all concrete for like a mile. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
It's something you would see.
Yeah.
But it's where it used to be where all the big guys went back in the day. And then every 16-year-old finds out about it. So now it's you'll have a couple of the big guys racing, but then you'll have every 16-year-old and every car in the world follow you. And then it's not very secretive.
Yeah. Well, they're live streaming on their Snap feeds.
I know. Stuff. I'm like, stop that. That's like, they're like, we never see when you guys street race. They're like, do you
You're
street
like,
race Klaus? I'm like, yeah, I do actually, and he does
That's
pretty well.
the
They're like, we've
whole-
never seen it. I'm like, because it's illegal. I'm not going to broadcast that.
Yeah, do it live. Hey, come get me. That's funny. So what other projects you got? Have you done anything to the wife's rig? I mean, is there anything like that, or she just drive the daily and you change the oil?
Yeah, her X5 actually has the same engine, my 535. It's a inline 6 3-liter. They're both big turbos. Hers has got downpipe and fuel. It's like 600 horsepower.
Nice.
But it's not as crazy as mine because she was like, every time you modify your car, it breaks. And I don't want that to happen to my car.
Yeah. Yep.
So I was like, just let me do a downpipe intake and a tune. And
Yeah,
leave
it'll
it at
get
that.
it'll get better mileage.
Yep.
All this kind of stuff.
But
It'll
she was worried about the
accelerate
sound. She's like, it's gonna be so much louder. I'm like, no, it's not. And it actually
it's
isn't.
fine.
At cruising, the only time it's louder is if you floor it. But
Yep.
she went from a Chrysler Sebring at 100 horsepower to a 500 horsepower X5, and she was like, I can merge on the highway like faster than people. I don't have to get scared and hit the brakes.
Dude,
I'm like,
you changed that girl's life.
I know.
He is sadly not doing sick week.
No, that's in a Florida world. I can't get enough time.
Yep. Has had the conversation of maybe drag week because it's a little closer to the house.
Yes, drag week is all Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, and I really want to. Like, there's a trailer hitch on the car. I have the trailer. Everything is. I want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. You're always going to find the weakest link for sure.
100%. Oh, hey, I'm about 4 miles from Byron Dragway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right over there.
That's awesome. Dude, man, there's just so much. Like, what's coming 2022 for the channel? What should people be looking for?
There is somewhat secretive things, but there's only 8 people watching.
Yeah, I was like, and we've been in 2 hours. If anybody's still watching, let them have it.
We met with a gentleman who buys and sells military Humvees, who's doing well for himself. And he's a veteran, and he saw that we're all about America. We're all about veterans. We're all about everything like that. And he was like, I want to donate one of my military Humvees to you.
Yes.
I'm like, you're joking. He was like, no. He's like, one of those legit, straight military Humvees.
Yes.
I was like, oh, yeah, that'd be fun to LS swap. He's like, did you ever think about diesels? I'm like, I honestly don't know a single thing about a diesel, but that would be amazing. He's like, well, I have a built Cummins motor. Do you want it? I'm like,
yeah.
Do I want it? Like, for free? He was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, after Christmas, he's like, I'll have it sent to your shop, and you guys can have it as long as you put a veteran's livery on it, and you do it for the veterans. I'm like,
dude, that's awesome.
100%.
So all right, let's talk through
right
that
now.
build. Yeah. So then you do that. You're going to do like a, whatever the automatic trans is, because it'll be easy to adapt.
Yeah, which I don't know yet what, but
just convert, because those trucks had like a 6.5 Chevy diesel with a turbo 400, which would suck. That's why they don't go very fast, right?
Yeah, they're very slow.
So do the Cummins and an overdrive and convert it to rear wheel drive and tow Klaus with it.
Well, that's what we wanted to do. But he said the stipulations are, I want it to be crazy like Klaus. So I'm like, what? He was like, cage on the outside. I'm like,
yeah,
that actually fits in with the Hummer though, the cage on the outside. Yeah. He's like, the turbo hanging out. He's like, I want to see it do burnouts and maybe go off-roading. I'm like, that actually sounds great to me. A burnout car that's sitting up, I mean, really high, something that's burnouts, but then something we can like dirt race and stuff like that. He just wants something crazy. He's like, I want you to give veterans ride and just whip them around the dirt, whip them around the track. I'm like, sign me up. Let's go.
No problem. Well, and the cool thing about Cummins with the turbo upgrade, that thing makes like 1,000 foot-pounds. It'll spin 40s all day. So
we've been talking to him every couple of days about the details of like when it's getting sent or if we were going to meet him. So I told him, I was like, yeah, we'll drive down there. He's like, oh no, I also own a semi-moving company or whatever. And he was like, I'll have it trailered up to like Indy, because we're always in Indy. I was like, I'll pick it up from Indy.
That's cool, man.
So we got that's coming up. Shane, which I don't know, he hasn't been in here because he's in Chicago right now, but he's got an 8-second Mustang Mach 1 that we just blew the mod motor, and that's now getting a built 2JZ swap from the same people from Accelerated, who's doing the side-by-side motor. So he's getting a 1,500 horsepower 2JZ
That's
that we're putting in his Mustang. We got Chad, who's going for the world record all-wheel drive BMW. We got Mike, who's going for the world record all-wheel drive F-Series BMW, which is like 2012 to 2020, so the newer style one. So basically, what we do in the BMWs is we go for the records, which the records aren't that unattainable. When we started for Chad's, the world record all-wheel drive one was like 11.0, and now it's like 10.2. And he's got fully built motor, built trans, built everything. And people are like, oh, that's kind of slow. My 95 LS can do that. I'm like, yes, that motor's been out for 30 years. This motor's been out for 10 years. So it's all about the technology.
And BMW is like, I hate tuners.
Every time the new BMW comes out, it takes 3 or 4 years before we can unlock the ECU because they lock it to where you cannot touch it.
Why?
Just like with the new Corvette. Is the new Corvette still locked? Is the ECU locked still?
Yeah, I was going to say,
it's been like 2 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it is. And then there's people that are figuring out the standalones to put on top of the factory ECU.
That's kind of in the BMW. Yeah, they have these things called JB4 is the company. It's a piggyback module, which I don't like those because it's tricking the ECU to think that it's running fine when it's really not. I like the full flashing like what we do, and that's completely changing the whole ECU parameters, and it's safer and better.
Yep. So it's funny. I need to have a manufacturer engineer on and be like, why is that the thought process?
Because German engineering is the best. You don't need to touch it. That's why.
Yeah. Man, idiots, dude. I'm telling you. All right. So I think let's probably just cut it because I've got to get to work on this Trailblazer, dude. I haven't even touched it.
Hey, it's almost midnight my time over here.
Yeah, I know. And hey, I want to say thanks again for hanging out and doing that, dude. I mean, you've been on here 2.5 hours. And for 30 minutes of that, you were by yourself.
Right. It's all good. Well, we started at 8 o'clock and now it's midnight my time.
Yeah.
8 to midnight.
Yep. Hey, listen, we'll keep you up all night, man. Hey, I really appreciate it. Everybody that's in the chat, thank you so much for hanging
everyone
out.
in the chat is super cool. I've been reading like every single comment as you guys are posting them. You guys are awesome. I need to follow all you guys and I'll get sometime we need to get a group live feed. Like I don't know if you can get like little squares of like 8 of us and do something. I mean, it'd be
the struggle with that many people is like, how do you get your word in? So let me run through this idea with you. We'll see what the 6 or 7 people have left in the chat. I want to do, and we may do it before the end of the year, but I want to do one where it's like, you're only allowed to come on for 10 minutes. So like you better, you're getting in, or we'll have 1 or 2 topics, and that's what you're going to talk about for your 10 minutes. We'll come in, boom, 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 and just move through like 20 people.
Or a good idea is you get all the YouTube channels together and you have a contest of like trivia, and then you're like, okay, on to you. Here's your question. Here's Hidden Motorsports. Here's LS SWATs. Here's all this. What's your answer? And of course, like I'll have 4 guys, but you'll only see it on my one screen, and like we're talking. So that's, I mean, you have more people, but then you only have like, say, like 4 channels at once. So then you only have 4 screens.
That's a good idea.
But you have a lot more people because it's their channel, like representing or playing. Or, I mean, it doesn't be a game, or it could be talking, it could be whatever.
Yep. So Dan IT says, I like it. Do a hat and ask questions out of a hat. Yeah. That's
stuff
cool.
Like that. That'd be fun.
All right. Well, man, hey, thank you so much again. I really do appreciate it. And we'll see you soon. I mean, I know we're definitely going to see you
for sure.
Yeah, well, we're going to see you at Indy, I'm sure.
Indy will probably be the first event because I think that's April. Do you believe?
I hope it's the end of April, man. There's too much shit going on early in the year. So yeah, we need to start looking at Airbnbs. Maybe we can beat you to that one Airbnb, and
we'll get them all right next to each other. I'm cool with that.
That's right. That's right. So, all right, dude. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate all of you. You have a good one tonight.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching all that kind of stuff. Tomorrow, 3 p.m., not 7 or 8 p.m. anymore. 3 p.m. Tom Stark, and then Sunday Lyle Barnett. So we're gonna have a good time.
Hey, I'll jump in the comments and have some fun with you guys too.
Dude, let's go. All right, I'm in.